A couple of weeks ago, I got this comment about the problem with peer assessment on written assignment and the forum post, and yes, I have seen this problem being discussed in other places like Reddit, and on this topic, I think there are two main problems. One, people who give terrible answers or assessments, and two, people who grades what you consider is not a fair grade. Let's start with the first one. People who give terrible answers in forum posts or bad assessments on the written assignments. A while back, I had a professor that used to give us a PDF with the most common mistakes to avoid in his class. If you have ever been in Dr. Sam's class, you'll know what I'm talking about. And one of the commendations he gave us was the CCS. CCS stands for Commendations, Critiques, and Suggestions, and here's how it goes. Each time you have to answer a post in the forum or assess a paper, you start by commending the post by offering a substantial comment to show what you love about the post, whether is that the post is made some good points, or it was well formatted, or any of the things that you consider the person who posted has done right. Next, you critique the post, which is easy if the post contains some common mistakes like bad grammar, misspellings, lack of references, etc. But if the post is perfect, which almost never happens, then you have to come up with counter-arguments and become the devil's advocate and oppose the opinion of the writer in order to create some debate around the topic, especially in forum posts. By the way, do you know where the term devil's advocate comes from? Well, back in 1587 up until 1983, the Catholic Church, in order to canonize someone in the process to make him a saint, had to prove that the miracles attributed to the person were indeed real miracles. And for that, there was a person that questioned everything about them. This made him look like someone that was against the process, and thus the term devil's advocate was born. This is an important practice in my opinion, and I think everyone should practice it. Always try to disprove your beliefs. If you are with someone that you agree with on a subject, try to become the devil's advocate and come up with arguments against it. This will make you understand more about the whole subject and will help you understand the other side, even if you do not agree with it. But I digress. Next step, the suggestion, which should focus on helping the writer to fix common mistakes you might point out in your critique. Again, if it's a perfect post, then you should summarize or clarify your counter-arguments. And that's it for the written assignments assessment. But when it comes to the forum post, I will also add a question, something that the original poster can add to, explain, justify, or any other person that is on the forum. The idea is to keep the conversation going and learn as much as we can from one another, especially when it comes with subjects that are viewed differently in other places, and benefit from the fact that in this university there are people from all over the world with different realities. But let's be honest, most people are not complaining that they don't get the proper assessment. They're complaining about the grade they get and that it's another two-parter. How good are your papers or posts and how you should grade others? So here we go. Let's go back to the 5 common mistakes from Dr. Sam's class. Number 1, APA. You need to present all your works in APA format. Don't know what that is? Google it or YouTube it. It's really easy. But a big part of it are references. If you are using any outside source, you need to cite it. You need to include an in-text citation and a reference at the end of the paper or post. I'll leave a link in the doobly-doo to a website where you can paste a URL and it will do it for you. Sometimes you need to correct or add some info, but that's it. After that, you just need to copy the citation and add it to your paper. Number 2, clarity. Avoid grammatical or vocabulary problems. Write with clarity. How can you identify this? As I said in another video, read it out loud. Read it as you were giving a TED talk and you realize really quickly where are your mistakes. Number 3, labels. Your questions or answers are not numbered or labeled, or you just did not include the questions with your answers, which is something I see every week, or you just skipped a question. On this day and age, you're not allowed to make these mistakes. Sorry. Microsoft Word has all the tools to do this properly, and if you do not own this software, you can use Google Docs, which is free, and you'll get the same tools. Also, if you are answering a post in the forum, you can click the reply button, and then there's another button next to it that says Advance, and that will give you all the other options, bold letters, italic, whatever. This is something that not all of you know, maybe, but now you do. Number 4, guidelines. You just did not follow the guidelines. Either you missed the deadline or did not read the assignment that clearly set a number of words for a paper or any other thing. So please be careful. I'll give you a little trick. Write everything in APA format and at least 400 words and you'll be fine in most papers. Number 5, plagiarism. Just don't plagiarize anything. You gain nothing and people will know. That book, that video, that audio, or whatever you think no one has ever heard or seen before, yeah, someone knows about it already. So if you're using some of that, just cite it. Plagiarism is something that actually can get you expelled. And those are the things you need to know in order to write a good paper and get a good grade. If you're constantly doing some of those things wrong, you should know now why you're getting a low grade. Granted, the person that gave you the low grade should told you what are the mistakes you're making in order to get it, but please be careful too. And when it comes to grade others, here are the things I consider important. Those 5 things that I just mentioned, and that's it, just like that. It has to be in APA format, at least most of the time, or at least have citations and reference if there are an outside source, no spelling mistakes or grammatical errors, no plagiarism, etc. It doesn't matter if you do not agree with what is being said. That is not a reason to deduct points. But all of the other things I just mentioned are. I have already assessed a couple of papers that I just don't understand because it seems like the student wrote it in their native language and passed it through a Google Translate and just sent it like that. Others with no citations and others that are just incomplete. But then there are some papers that just make me feel embarrassed with what I wrote because they are so much better than I just have to congratulate them because now they are teaching me to be better. But if you wrote a perfect paper that made no mistakes on those 5 points and you still get a low grade, then you can just talk to your professor privately via the Moodle chat and he will review your paper and the grade you got personally and will correct it if he deems worthy of correction. You see, I didn't mention this problem in my video of things that I don't like about the University of the People simply because this is not a University of the People problem. This is a student problem. Either students don't understand how to grade or don't understand what are their mistakes on papers, and there is nothing the university can do about it to prevent more of this other than give them a course about how the system works, which they do at the beginning right after you enroll in the university. The only way to improve this is improving ourselves and commenting these issues with our instructors and classmates in the course forum, which in my last 2 courses has been mostly dead. And the instructor can try to engage with the student to use it, but we should be the ones posting there whatever we feel it's important to share with the class, whether that is something interesting, new material, videos, questions, even things that might go against that we are learning, if that's the case. Just please don't fill it with conspiracy theories. And that's it. Do you have any comments? Has this been useful in some way? What other things do you want me to talk or research about? I hope you liked it, and I will see you in the next one.